The most frustrating challenge that school leaders face isn't budgets, curriculum, or even staff shortages. It's bringing people together when their identities are rooted in being apart. What happens when two rival communities that have defined themselves by their opposition to each other suddenly need to become one? How do you take decades of us versus them mentalities and transform it to better together? This isn't just a theoretical leadership question. When shrinking populations and limited resources force communities to merge their schools, the real work then begins. It's building a unified culture that honors both traditions while creating entirely something new. Today's ruckus maker, Derek Cantrell, is showing exactly how to make that transition and how he made it not just seamless, but transformative. Through innovative communication strategies, intentional relationship building, and leveraging AI to improve both teacher effectiveness and student outcomes, he's proving that rival communities truly can become better together. Hey, it's Danny, and welcome to Better Leaders, Better Schools, the original Ruckus cast for visionaries in education that want to do school different, even within a traditional setting, so that you create a campus experience worth showing up for. Thanks to ruckus makers just like you, this show ranks in the top 1% of nearly 4 million podcasts worldwide. In today's conversation, I speak with Derek Cantrell. He's the principal of Allegheny High School, where he led the consolidation of two rival high schools into one building, creating a better together culture. He integrates AI-driven tools like Julius AI for state testing analysis and custom chatbots to stream admin tasks, improve instructional planning, and enhance decision-making, proving that culture and innovation can transform the school experience. So once again, thanks for listening, and we'll be right back after a quick message from our show sponsors. For over 30 years, ODP Business Solutions has helped schools transform from whiteboards to smartboards. Why? Because when you get the right tools, everyone wins. Visit odpbusiness.com/education to revolutionize your school's learning spaces. That's odpbusiness.com/education. This episode of Better Leaders, Better Schools is brought to you by Play Piper. At Piper, we believe that STEM doesn't have to feel out of reach. Too many kids love gaming, but give up on science and engineering because school doesn't spark their interest. That's where Piper comes in. Hands-on STEM kits designed to turn curiosity into confidence and keep the pipeline of future innovators flowing strong. You can learn more at playpiper.com. That's playpiper.com. Over 1 million teachers rely on IXL because it's empowering, it helps them make better decisions with reliable data, and it adapts instruction based on student performance. You can get started today at ixl.com/leaders. That's ixl.com/leaders. All right, Derek, welcome to the show.
Excited. Thank you for hosting me for sure.
Yeah, pleasure to have you here. So I wanted to start off, in our intro conversation, you mentioned that you enjoy making chatbots. And, I know here's what's wild to me. I did this program, 52 people joined. It was fantastic. It's called the 90-Day Accelerator. It's all about how to prepare for the school year and create a 90-day plan. And there's probably like 50 something modules as well inside. Tons of content, frameworks, tools, videos, etc. One of the things I built for this community was a custom GPT that helped people get very clear on what I call their sticky core values, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, so many people are commenting just on that lesson alone, talking about, man, this feels like I'm working with my own individual coach, and now I'm actually excited for the first time. My staff is excited about the sticky core values we're creating. And the comment that shocked me was, This is my first time using ChatGPT, said one principal. This is cool, right? So I share that because there's quite a continuum with people who have never used AI. And then there's you, right? And other school leaders, ruckus makers who are tinkering and creating chatbots and stuff like that. So what are you building? What are you making, Derek?
The exciting part is I went to Vista a couple years ago and went to a session, and the guy talked about the backside of ChatGPT. And,
Right on.
when you get there, it's like, what is that? And it's kind of like going in and walk through how to create those custom bots. And it's so neat and cool what you can do by building your own knowledge with your own documents, with your own forms, with your own
Mm,
ideas. So you put that in and it's running through your stuff to give you what you need. Some of the cool things we've done with it is we've built walkthrough tools for our staff so our principals can go through, take notes of what they're actually seeing. We walk out, we run it through what our core values are as an administrative team, what our
mm.
district form is, and it kind of takes some of that bias out of there from what I think, what we think. And, that was kind of one of the ideas there, is kind of that ruckus idea to get going with that. One neat tool I found as well is Julius AI that does awesome work with data analysis. We were able to take all of our question by detail reports on state testing, run that through that system for each strand and each type of question, whether it's high, medium, or low, be able to give the teachers a 2-pager of every strand, how many
Mm.
were right, how many were wrong, identify the top 5 weaknesses and strengths, and then go back to our chatbot and create ways to engage, make it real world, make it relevant within a lesson structure and plan. That was really exciting. I mean, that was like a big breakthrough that was fun to kind of go through that process, and went and talked to some of my leadership teams and were, is this valuable? Is this actionable? Because some of that data is just so hard, so much hammer and chisel working, going through it to be in front of it and be able to utilize it effectively.
Right. So, you mentioned creating something for principals with walkthroughs and things for teachers as well. Talk to me about how they are adopting it, right? Their openness and using it and that kind of thing.
Couple workshops we've done this year is to focus on how we can be more engaging by utilizing AI. You got your lesson plan that, you've utilized for years. How do we make it relevant in real world for kids? So you can
Mm,
easily, like, here's this lesson. How do I create the hook? How do I create the engagement piece, and kind of just ramp it up a little bit more from where we were? One of our focuses, we're trying to improve scores and do better and focus on engagement, and how do you make those things relevant to kids. So
mm.
that's been the challenge with making those bots and giving that to the teacher so that they can easily, here's my lesson plan. I'd like something in this idea for this concept. How do I make this math issue real world and relevant for our students?
Yeah, right on. Real world relevant, right? These are the things that we want to be creating. And so if there's a way to do that faster and in more meaningful ways for our students, that seems pretty cool. I think you mentioned maybe looking at data. I know you mentioned walkthrough, but are you leveraging AI at all? Yeah, to look at data and help students in terms of their performance and outcomes.
Absolutely. It does. It's so amazing with what it can pull from formative, summative benchmark assessments that takes that time, 10, 15 years ago, where we're data
Mm.
disaggregating and spending weeks in grade level meetings, breaking down student
Yeah.
data,
Ouch.
and the hammer part of that, and just being able to get actionable data in real world where you're at a specific time that you can make changes. Because that's
Mm,
always the hard part, the time that you put into going through that data disaggregation to get
sure.
input while you're teaching. So
Yeah.
that's been very helpful to be able to do that and create some custom bots that help. I've worked a little bit with Trevor Gurich with Neurovant AI, and he's working on some programs that are
Mm,
kind of full encompassing of that, where we could put in some data points from your
mm.
benchmark summative data, pull it out, give you those strengths and weaknesses, and tailor it to the individual student within that. He definitely has a team that can do a little bit better than I can with my custom bots.
Sure. And one of those tools, did you say Julius, or am I making that up?
Julius AI, it's a great data analytical assessment tool. You get
Okay.
like 25 messages for free a month if you pay. I mean, it will do charts, graphs. It basically codes for you. So whatever you want it to do, it'll code for you. It'll run the script in the code and then make it happen. So you can go through something. I would like a graph, a pie graph, a PDF, and it's going to create it for you based upon what your needs are, what you're trying to come out with.
Got it. Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. So that's for the listener, somebody watching, Julius.ai. And it sounds like a lot for data analysis, and you said some coding too. All right, cool.
It seems a little sharper than ChatGPT on the data analysis part.
Interesting. What do you mean by sharp?
Double checking and going through and seeing what the numbers were to be able to
Mm-hmm.
correlate felt a little stronger with Julius, and it was just a
Yeah,
little bit easier process with more data and more data scripts and strands and testing things with that. So
yeah, yeah,
it was
yeah.
just a little easier to get what I wanted through that process with Julius rather than ChatGPT.
Right on. That makes sense. You definitely want to check your work, right? And there's some stuff that I've used it for, analyzing some spreadsheets that had data and content in there. And then something that was really interesting was like, in terms of what ChatGPT put back, like the output, it was okay. And I gave it feedback, like I think you made this mistake, that mistake, and of course it said, "Oops, I'm so sorry." And after another run, and then I think a third run, it had perfected it. So maybe that's what you mean by the sharp part there. All right, cool. Well, I think that's all I want to talk about in terms of AI right now. I want to move on to a pretty unique context that you experienced, which I think was like two rival schools that joined together, and you had to lead that project. So tell me about that.
Well, to start off, the interesting part is we had Allegheny County Public Schools, which is our county part, and
Hmm.
Covington City Public Schools, which is inside the county. I was a student that graduated from Allegheny County Public Schools, taught, coached, and started off here, but then was the last principal at Covington High School, was there for 7 years before the merger transition and becoming Allegheny High School with bringing Covington and Allegheny students together. So it was really neat to be from here, be on both sides of that merger. So I think that
Hmm.
helped a lot within that process piece. But bringing two rival high schools, we had a cup for football games that the whole community was there. It was the biggest game of the year. Anytime we had things, you have two rival high schools, and how do you bring two rival high schools together and have a better together kind of culture and atmosphere? So that's kind of where we started. We can be better together by bridging our resources, bringing our staff together, offering more for kids, whether it be dual enrollment, extracurricular activities, more electives within our core classes. And that was kind of the theme with that. So you had that process about 3 years before. 23, 24 was kind of the first year of the consolidated high school. The year before that, the division merged. So at that point, we still didn't know who was the principal of the high school, the middle school, the technical center, and all those pieces. So you're working as a group to kind of come up with that plan. But then once you get those roles, it's how do you create that culture roadmap so that when you start day one, we've built those relationships. So in October of 22, I was hired for the high school principal position at Allegheny, and basically had the central office team to work with at that point. Had no assistant principals, no teachers at that point. So it's kind of a
Hmm.
unique part because all that came later. So the thought was, how do we create a culture roadmap, the things we want to check off along that process so that we inform people, we make people feel comfortable. So day one, we have an environment that people want to be in and feel that it's new. So as we hired our assistant principals, that we could start kind of running and going with that group and meeting with kids. A couple of the big questions are, what are you excited about? What are you concerned
Hmm.
about? And
Hmm.
kind of simple. And listen to those concerns and then try to make those changes for the kids along the way so that they can be comfortable within the process. One of the main things from kids from Covington was just getting to the building, seeing what the school looks like, getting into classrooms. So we brought our leadership team down and shadowed Allegheny's leadership sticks, came back, talked to the kids at our school. Then we had an open house in the evening that parents and students could come in. Nobody was here, and go walk around and just get their feet in the building before school started. The next piece of that was just how do we get parents, get teachers, get students in to build relationships and rapport. We held summer kind of get together nights, cornhole, movie nights, have pizza, food, and also give away as much gear as possible, just to sell the new brand within that part of it. And we met, some of the teachers talked about in our grade level meetings, communication. So we made sure throughout that process to share what was going on twice a month. You made these hires. Here's what we're working on with moving furniture from 3 schools, which was a huge undertaking with that part. And, how do you communicate? How do you involve stakeholders and build everybody within that process?
Brilliant. Cool. Well, Derek, I think this is a good spot to take a quick breaks for some messages from our sponsors. And when we get back on the other side, you mentioned Better Together. And I know when you joined those schools, you launched the Better Together podcast. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about what you built there.
Great.
ODP Business Solutions, formerly Office Depot Business Solutions Division, has been a trusted partner for schools for 30 years. At ODP Business Solutions, we're by your side to meet your evolving education needs. Here's the thing about creating remarkable learning spaces. You need a partner who gets it. Someone who understands that transforming education isn't just about swapping whiteboards for smartboards. It's about reimagining what's possible. That's why innovative school leaders trust ODP Business Solutions. We don't just deliver supplies. We help you design dynamic learning environments that make students actually excited to show up. From tech integrations that bring lessons to life to flexible furniture that transforms any space into a collaboration zone, to sustainable solutions that teach by example, we've got everything you need to do school different. And the best part, you can get it all from a single supplier. That helps you simplify ordering and streamline budgeting while staying compliant with easy access to cooperative contracts. However you want to advance, ODP Business Solutions has 30 years of experience helping districts like yours get ahead. Visit odpbusiness.com/education to learn more. That's odpbusiness.com/education. Too many students with the talent to be tomorrow's engineers give up, convinced they're just not good at school. That's why Play Piper was created. The name comes from the mission to repair the leaky STEM pipeline and guide kids back toward discovery and innovation. With hands-on STEM kits and coding curriculum, students who love gaming and tinkering realize they can also succeed in science, engineering, and beyond. If you're an educator looking for a way to boost engagement, bring joy into STEM, and keep your students on the path of innovation, visit playpiper.com to learn more. That's playpiper.com. Something that drove me nuts as a ruckus maker was hearing teachers say things like, I taught it, they should have learned it. But really, some teachers just don't know how to teach or reteach for that matter so that all kids get it. That's where IXL comes in. IXL's diagnostic automatically identifies knowledge gaps for teachers and provides them with a personalized growth plan for each individual student. Teachers can step into the classroom every day knowing what their students know and what they don't know. IXL's adaptive platform makes differentiating instruction easy. As students learn, IXL adjusts to the right level of difficulty for each student. Close knowledge gaps and accelerate learning with IXL. Get started today at ixl.com/leaders. That's ixl.com/leaders. All right. And we're back with Derek Cantrell. We were talking AI, then we were talking about joining two rival schools into one. And part of that process, you mentioned how it's better to be together. And so you launched, I believe, the Better Together podcast for your community. Tell us about that show.
This year, one of the challenges was how do we kind of recognize, acknowledge, and extend our people?
Mm,
So the thought was each month to talk to kids, talk to teachers, talk to staff members. The kids part's pretty, I tell the kids when they come in, it's simple. You have two questions. What do you enjoy about being a student here? And who's your favorite teacher and why? And then there's
mm,
sometimes a few follow-ups, but then I can make a phone call to that parent, go talk to that teacher, and just kind of uplift their day. And with staff, what do you enjoy about working here and who got you into education and why? And the same part. How do you have those conversations about what people like about being in your building and go talk to those folks and talk to the parents, talk to the teachers and build those relationships of uplifting people. And the
yeah.
more we can do that, I think it benefits us all. And some of the things we've seen just out of that whole process, not necessarily the podcast, but our community's been so supportive of things. We've had painted blue campaigns down Main Street in both Covington and Clifton Forge, homecoming parades that our communities put on, bonfires, fireworks. We have a group of people
Mm,
that are outside the school that shoot fireworks off at every football game. Score a
okay.
touchdown, fireworks go up, and they get the money and sponsor that themselves. And somebody even bought us a tunnel to run out on Friday night football games. So it's been really cool to see the community support and the things they've done to kind of just uplift our school and stand behind us in this journey. So that's been really sweet.
It's fantastic. Creating that Better Together podcast, has anything surprised you since you started putting that content out for your community?
It's something that you have to put on your calendar to make sure that you do. It gets a little crazy sometimes in a high school, and to take the time to sit down and make sure that you do that each month and see the value that comes with it. It tried to get a variety of students so that you have students
Mm,
from your athletes to somebody that was in a play one night to the student that does a great job maybe at the technical center. So how do you get a wide range of people that are involved so that you kind of build that net of who you're talking to and build those relationships? It's done. Don't want to be able to talk to a teacher and saying, Susie said this about you, and hearing that conversation of them being like, man, that just made my day. I wasn't in a good space today, and you just really helped give me that nudge with that part of it, and that makes it totally worth it.
So is what you're explaining there, you'd have a student talk to a teacher and, share what they admire about them? Or when you said Susie said that about you, tell me a little bit more. Is that you just saying, hey,
Yeah.
I've collected some feedback on you as a teacher? Like, what is that
I always
conversation?
I always tell the kids when they're on the podcast, the question about what do you enjoy being a student, and then who's your favorite teacher and why. And I'm like, I'm
Hmm.
going to
Hmm.
share this, so they
Got it.
have that part of it where I can go have that conversation with the teacher that the student said this about them, and you've made a connection and a relationship. Keep doing a great job with that, and this is why they really feel that you're valuable to them. And you hear things from this teacher listens to me and has conversations and's really helped me be a better person to I hated math before I got in this classroom and now it's my favorite subject, and this teacher did that for me.
Got it. Well, talk to me about the Cougar Connect program. What's that all about?
This year we tried to work on a way to build, and we probably shot too far with that
Mhm.
part and added too many kids into it and need to narrow our focus. But the hope was making relationships with students that are struggling possibly with attendance and being at school. So
Mm.
how do we find a teacher, a staff member that has a good relationship that can check on them, set some goals, set up some things, and have weekly check-ins, monthly meetings to check on grades, attendance reports, and just have some ownership within that process. And the hope was for teachers to pick two people that they had relationships based upon our list and just really focusing on uplifting those kids and having someone help them with goal setting and progress.
Yeah, right on. And in terms of your school, we talked about a bunch of stuff. Was there anything that we missed that you wanna bring into the conversation?
I definitely think that communicating, talking to people, what they're excited about, what they're concerned about with change is very important. The more you can answer those concerns and get that messaging out there, the better. I think one thing we intentionally did was try to sell small wins along the way. When
Yeah.
we did things throughout the spring and summer, whether it be we finished painting lockers a new color from where they were, put it on social media, share the community with what we have. We put new stickers on the doors, share that out. One big thing we tried to do was get schedules way ahead of when they typically were ready for that first week that kids came back. We had a summer schedule pickup day. We had
Hmm.
flags out down the road as you come in, a big tent, and with all the new logos and gear, handed stuff out. But tried to make that win with here's your schedule. We're ahead of the game. We got all this furniture that's moving and moving pieces that we're doing to make this ready. And here's what we want to have when you come in day one. You're not worried about your schedule. We got you ready to
We
go
got you
with the
covered.
high school piece of it. So that was big. Just I thought early on walking down the hall on our second floor, probably like September, October, we had a whole floor of math, science, and special ed teachers eating lunch in the same room. And if you know
Hmm.
high school folks, that's not normally what you see with high school people, but
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
really
sure.
cool to see a whole floor of people, and I mean everybody that's on that floor eating in lunch together every day, still
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
continuing in year two within that part of it. So that's really, really special. I always like to tell our people it's you want to create an environment where our teachers recruit other teachers. Because if you have your teachers going out and doing that recruitment piece for you, they're going to get people they know that will come in, be a part of the team, and be successful. And they've done a good job with that these past years. But I do think that some of the things we did intentionally to communicate, build those relationships really helped. Our sports teams, the spring and summer, got together before school started, volleyball, cross country,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
golf, football. So they were building those relationships before we came into school. And those teams, with the work they did and then being successful, definitely helped that first couple weeks of school.
Got it. Yeah. What do you think contributed? If you said the eating together is not the norm for high school, and you're talking about culture building, that kind of thing, what do you think contributed, to the environment, to the culture that people felt good about that?
Early on, I think in the process for the Covington side, it was kind of a gut punch of losing your school, losing your community.
It was
Being
tough.
there the first 5 or 6 months, you could feel it that year of school, just that, hey, this is going to come to an end. But
Hmm.
our staff up there, went into this process being open-minded, accepting, and were really excited to make it work and do the best that they could. And I feel the folks just really clicked and on that hall and just build good relationships and talking. And you go from we were 8 through 12 high school at Covington, had about 350 kids. So we're a little smaller. So if you were the earth science teacher, you were the earth science teacher. If you were the
Hmm.
algebra one, we might have somebody share a few, to having a department where you had several people teaching the same thing. So those conversations definitely make you better. So that was something that we were pretty excited about. And we did culture building activities throughout the spring before consolidation. Our division did a good job with setting up some mingle events where we did
Hmm.
PD. We got out a half a day. We ate lunch together. We raced cars. We built towers. We worked in different groups. We toured both buildings. And just the simple fact of somebody's going to Covington High School, which is now the middle school, could ask questions to somebody in that room of, here's how where stuff is, and make people feel comfortable. And we continued that. Our first year, our PD was built on culture. Activities within that were building those relationships, building that team. And, we showed some different things there with some videos and things just to kind of encourage that throughout the process and have fun with it and continue to build build that culture piece.
Right on. Well, Derek, if you could put one message on all school marquees around the world, what would your message be?
I think I'm going to stick with the better together part. So better together, every voice matters, every effort counts, and every day is an opportunity.
That's right. And if you had the opportunity to build your dream school, you weren't limited by any types of resources. Your only constraint was your ability to imagine. What would be the three guiding principles of your dream school?
And I think the first one would be culture drives everything. You got to build the culture first, and it takes time. It's not a one-day event. It's not a one-day activity, but start with culture. Culture will get you where you need to be. Learning should be relevant, real world, and personalized. The best that you can do that, if you can make learning relevant and personalized to kids, they're going to get there. I always think that if you can keep kids on the edge of their seat as a ruckus maker type thing, keep kids on the edge of their seat, they're going to be successful. You're not going to have discipline problems, and you're going to have a great school. But that's easier said than done, because it comes to planning, engagement, all those parts. And empower your people to be innovative and lead, and allow your APs, your staff, to go outside of what the normal, interstate road is where you're on cruise control. You can take a country road and get to where you need to be.
That's right. Well, we covered a lot of ground today, Derek. Of all the things we discussed, what's the one thing you want a ruckus maker to remember?
I think culture doesn't happen by accident. Lead it, shape it, and live it every day. And putting that time and investment into building culture pays off in the long run, because it makes teachers want to be at your school, kids want to be at your school. And when that happens, good things will happen academically, extracurricular, in all those aspects of your school.
Well, hey, Ruckus Maker, thanks again for pressing play. I hope you enjoyed today's episode with Derek Cantrell. He's certainly doing some interesting things with AI, and hearing his story of joining two rival campuses had me thinking deeply about culture. So if you like today's episode and you like, thinking about how can I potentially use AI to make me a more effective ruckus maker and school leader, then I want you to check out, or I want to invite you to check out myprincipalcoach.com. This is a AI bot that I'm training on my 10 years of running mastermind experiences, personal one-on-one coaching with school leaders, my do school different frameworks and point of view. It's like having a little pocket ruckus maker mentor in your pocket, like I said, 24/7, helping you do school different. So go to myprincipalcoach.com and check out if this is something that you'd like to use. You get a 7-day free trial, and I think it's a really interesting way of supporting the big dreams that you have for your campus culture. Bye for now, and thanks for listening or watching.